Ah, new monarch, same old scam. They're still keeping everybody else poor and as a slave while their wealth continues to grow from generation to generation.
I mean, I don't say they're not treating everybody like a slave at all, but I mean, it's a point of life that you want your wealth to grow from generation to generation. What's the problem here?
Well, you just made my point for me. You want your wealth to grow from generation to generation, but they're impeding that process because in the UK, when you have over £325,000 to leave to the next generation, they tax you all the way up to 40% of what you're leaving. And any random house in the UK is already going to put you above the £325,000 threshold. So you're going to get charged that inheritance tax. And in most cases, you're going to get charged that full 40%. So while your dynastic wealth is being eroded with every generation, because the queen and this new king, they weasel their way out of it, their wealth gets to increase instead of erode with every passing generation. And they even said it themselves. They said, well, we had to strike this deal. Well, I'm sorry, let me just say it proper. Well, we had to make this deal because it was unacceptable to have the royal family's wealth erode from generation to generation. We must preserve our wealth and the family jewels and our estates and our army. You know, the personal army. I'm not talking about the regular England army. Our personal guard, the ones that everybody loves to make jokes at to see if they can get them to laugh, but we don't allow them to have personalities. They just need to do their job and protect us throughout all our lives, even though we're not really doing anything worthy of being protected except stealing from everybody and going, hello! So, yeah, that.
Wrong. Well, first off, this whole thing where you're talking about, and even the media is getting it wrong, and that's because you're all just Americans. You've never left America. You don't really care about history outside of American history.
Who said I was
In
American?
that country, when you go to the courthouse, let's say she didn't pay the taxes, and let's say you did try to give her or the new King Charles an inheritance tax, and he said, no, I'm not paying it. What are you going to do? They actually have sovereign immunity. You cannot go into a court and say, in the king's name, we're going to try the king. It doesn't work. You cannot punish them in that country. That's the problem with a monarchy. So at the end of the day, they don't have to pay anything ever. And that's fine. But you're making it seem their history led this world to where it is right now. Now, if you can explain to me why Obama's and the Clintons and all of these presidents that didn't do anything but destroy this country gets all this money and all this protection for the rest of their lives, and all they did was sit on their ass for 4 years and sell us out to pharmaceutical companies, yet they're allowed to have all of our tax dollars go to taking care of them. This actually makes perfect sense. Why should the queen have to pay an inheritance tax? Why should the monarchy ever go broke? At the end of the day, just like we have a Supreme Court and Congress and a president here, over in the UK, you have the monarchy and you have parliament, and that's where their checks and balances come in. So you can't have a broke queen, and you definitely can't have pieces of crap in parliament take their money from them. So no, I think it's fine. I think they shouldn't pay an inheritance tax, and I think they shouldn't pay any goddamn income tax. And I mean, if you're a wagey and you hate it, you can always leave and come to America, like all the other wages that hated it did.
Well, America has an inheritance tax as well, but that's a false assumption that you're making there that, well, what are you going to do? It's the queen. Or I'm sorry. What are you going to do? It's the queen, man. You
I'm
know,
not Italian.
it's like a mixture of Italian Jamaican. So
Oh,
anyways,
okay.
that's a false assumption because the only way that they're able to be a king, a queen, or a president is that everybody in the country just sits back and does nothing to prevent them from claiming that they're better than everybody else. It's a joke. There should be no presidents, no kings, no queens, no senators and congressmen or judges that you have to say your honor, even though you know that they're not honorable at all. And people should just be equal. You can have certain administrative groups that are just there to facilitate certain government services, like I don't even want to say roads because you can get that done privately, but let's say a police department or something of that nature. So you can do that without them getting all high and mighty, thinking that they're better than everybody else because they're a leader. Like, why would you call them a leader? They're not leading you anywhere except down the toilet. And why would you even assume that I was American? What would possibly lead you to that conclusion?